There was a Reddit user from the art world subreddit named Archiduqueplays who made his own fan-made magazine of Artworld Apes Oddysee and shared it to everyone on the subreddit. And I thought I wanted to print it as an actual physical magazine, which is this one, as you see right here. And this one is like the front and the back cover. And I thought I would love to share to you all Archiduqueplays Apes Oddysee magazine because I think this is really well done. And I thought to myself, this definitely needs to be printed as an actual magazine. So I want to like start with showing like him like showing his social like right here on Twitter and his email address. But first thing we see is the magazine is called Gentle Games somehow, and we see some ratings of Apes Oddysee. I don't think they're real ratings, but more like fake one because these descriptions seems a bit too comical. Like this one that says they pay me well. It's not played. It's contemplated. It's playable. Stuff like that. And this one is like a magazine that takes a deeper look at what Apes Oddysee is about and how the game functions. And the first page we see like the meat of Scrapania and Paramite, and of course we have the Modokans itself, and we see like a really detailed description of every part of a Modokan meat. And the most interesting one was this part here that says steamed hams. They light up your palate like the Aurora Borealis. Like, oh wow. It's not a really fun reference. And yeah. And then we go to the next page. This is like the introduction. And also showing like the page history on what it's all about. Saying like in 1997, an unknown company released its first major project game that captured the hearts of many players and became one of PlayStation's true gem. Oddworld Inhabitants introduced Apes Odyssey, a classic platformer with a twist in its gameplay, a dark troll, ironic human characters as strange as they are endearing. Then when we go here, the first thing we see is like the timeline that shows all of the Oddworld game. Like 1994, Oddworld Inhabitants was founded, and Sony released PlayStation 1. Apes Odyssey was released on 1997, Exodus 1998. And I don't know what it meant with saying the world didn't end in 2000, unless if I'm missing a joke here. But there are a few mistakes in this timeline here. Like, for example, it says that Stranger's Wrath was released in 2006, which is inaccurate. It was actually released in 2005. The same thing can also be said with Oddworld Soulstorm, as it labels that it was released in 2022, which was actually 2021. And the fun thing is, I could have technically changed like these mistakes all by myself, but I don't know why I didn't do that. I just kept all the pages as they were, yeah. And also like points out the part when Oddworld Inhabitants shut down their company and then later they came back. And here we also see like how Apes Odyssey is compared regarding its sales with other like famous PS1 games. Like we see here that Apes Odyssey was sold like 3.5 million, And then we see like games like Rayman, like the first one for PS1, sold 3.8 million. Spyro sold like 4.8 million, and Crash Bandicoot sold like 6.82 million. So I don't think that's not really bad. And moving on, next page is this one called The World of Oddworld, and it gives more like kind of like a description of what Oddworld exactly is about, and then he explains like the major concept of the planet Oddworld, as we see right here, and it also talks like the species, like the industrialists, the natives, and all that stuff. And here, this one here talks about the Gluckans, and here it talks about the Modakans, the Sleeks, and yeah, this one here talks about the main story of Ape's Oddysee. Like, Abe is a slave of the Rapture Farm. He discovered like the truth behind the ingredients of Tasty, and then he tried to run away and try to escape from Rapture Farm and save all of his buddies and all that stuff. And then there's also this one called The Oddysee. Like I don't know why they wrote it like this. It has to be written in an odd way. You know what I mean. And this one shows more like Abe's travel. Like, he starts as Rapture Farm, he escapes the stockyards, and then he goes to Moonsight Lines, then he reaches Paramonia and Scorpion, and returns back to Stockyard and back to Rapture Farms. And yeah, and this next page says the game Oddworld. It introduced like the main gameplay itself, and this is here where it goes like into more details on every level. First one is Rapture Farms, where dreams come true. Yeah, okay. Fine description. And here it's like introduced like Rapture Farms itself, and you also see like what can you like possibly expect to see in this level. You see it also introduces like the Sleeks, who they are and what they can do, and also like the whole game speak mechanic, as you can see here. And yeah, and it just like continues to explain more like all the stuff that you can see in Rapture Farm, like like the object, like the mine bombs and the trap levers, all that stuff. And this is also here where there's like supposedly another mistake made here. As you can see, like these screenshots here is from the Spanish version of Ape's Oddysee. Because the thing is, Archiduqueplays is from Spain, so naturally when he made this magazine, he first released it in Spanish, and then he later on, from what I believe is, he let some other people translate his magazine into English, which is this one that I have printed right here. And I don't know, it seems like these English translators just slipped the part with where they brought the Spanish screenshot of Ape's Oddysee along with it, but I don't really know if I should consider this as a mistake, because we also see the same with this picture of the Boom Machine. As you can see, it's written as BUM when it's actually written as BOOM in the English version, because that's how it looks like in the Spanish version. So, yeah, another mistake, if I should say that. Yeah, and then it talks about stockyards, freedom within reach. Yeah. No trespassing. Even slaves need an excuse to shoot something. And then here it explains like what you're gonna see in stockyard, like things like where you need to sneak a lot and you need to hide yourself in shadows, all this stuff, and also like warning on that you will meet those creatures called the slugs for the first time. And also, like, it mentions the secret levels as well. And then it just jumps onto motorcycle lines, the Mudokon homeland, as the third level. And it also explains, like, what Abe discover about himself when he reaches motorcycle lines, stuff. And it talks about the native Mudokons, all these things. And yeah, here I don't really understand what went wrong with the translators, because here you can see they brought like the English letter sign that says the wise will mimic for passage, but then here they kept the same Spanish translation from the Spanish magazine of it. So, what went wrong here? And then it also talks about the bell chimes here. And okay, this is my favorite page of this entire magazine. I think it's so well done. Here it talks about Paramonia and Scripania, and just the way how he used like these images of the pyramid, the background, and the screenshot. It's so well done. I love it. And here both pages talks each about Paramonia and Scripania, and obviously they would also mention Elam as well, and also like the concept of Elam loves honey but not the bees. And then it talks about both of the temples as well. And then it talks about when Abe returns to Rapture Farms, where dreams don't come true. Like, okay, that's such a fun description. Like, the verse like says where dreams come true, and then when you come back, says like where dreams don't come true. Yeah, then explains like what you're gonna expect to see the rest of Rapture Farms as well. And then it's just gonna end all of this asking, and now who's going to save you? Yeah. Then all of this ends with Archiduqueplays' own personal opinion about what he thinks about Abe's Oddysee. And he also like mentions stuff like bugs located in the farm, such as missing lever or sudden fall into the void. Like, I don't really know what he's talking about, but I don't know. And he says like it takes 8 hours finding few secrets, being a bit clumsy and saving, and yeah, don't reload when you lose an employee. And here he also talks about the positive and negatives about the game. He says the positive, he says it's fun and funny, a unique platform, artistically brilliant, cheap on Steam and GOG. The negatives is unfair at times, clunky controls, relies on trial and error in several spots. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and yeah, that was basically the end of the magazine. So if you want to read this magazine by yourself, I'll leave a link to the actual magazine itself where you can uh, view it digitally in both English and Spanish. And in case if you also want to print it physically, like I did, like if you know somebody else who can print it for you, like I do, because this is all my brother who printed all of this for me.